Hey everyone, welcome back to Up, Up, and Away, a comic book movie review and news podcast. My name is Joe Gilpin. I'm joined here as always by my brother,
Phil.
Fuck off.
It's Matt.
Matt Gilpin. I will call you Phil. Whatever you identify as, I will refer to you. How are you doing today, Matt?
Good.
Wonderful. This is a podcast where every Tuesday we get together, we talk about all the news that's going on in the comic book superhero realm. And every Friday we get together, we watch a classic comic book movie, and we get together to talk about it. Today, we are talking about one of the most beloved comic book movies of all time, Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this movie. It's coming off the heels of a very strong Spider-Man 1, which debuted to huge numbers. One of the top 10 grossing films of all time at the time. I believe it's still in the top 50. I'm sorry?
It's impressive.
It was huge. It wasn't necessarily critically beloved.
It was. It had like an 89 on RT.
Yeah, but that's just, was it good or was it bad? That wasn't necessarily, this is a great movie. It was, this is a fine comic book, early 2000s kind of movie.
Right. Yeah, it's only being really compared to the X-Men movies, I guess.
Yeah. And Daredevil and shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Even at the time, was Daredevil out? Daredevil
came out in like 2004.
Yeah.
So, same summer as this.
From 2004, Matt, do you want to get into the baseball card stats of this movie?
Yeah, it had a budget of $200 million. Bigger.
Naturally.
And it only grossed $783 million compared to the $821 million that the first one did.
It was a little down. And I would suspect that it's a little down because the first one wasn't necessarily a very engaging movie emotionally.
Right.
People didn't have a strong emotional attachment to a lot of the characters in that movie.
You didn't need to get your butt in the seat to see this one?
Yeah.
I can believe that. I would have seen it, but
But you were 3.
Yeah, no. Not that little. But little.
Yeah. You're still a little baby.
Yeah.
So, what are we looking at ratings-wise? I have to imagine it's through the roof.
Do you want to guess the Rotten Tomatoes score?
I'm going to guess a 95.
Ooh, you're close.
94?
93.
Damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah. 4 points higher.
Sure,
it's higher. That's the most important thing.
Well earned, as we will talk about.
Yeah, and the movie was directed, of course, by Sam Raimi. Screenplay by Alvin Sargent.
Stars Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. Kirsten Dunst is Mary Jane Watson.
A white lady.
Alfred Molina for his only Spider-Man appearance as Dr. Otto Octavius.
Correct.
James Franco, back before he was James Franco, is in as Harry Osbourne. They pretty much got everybody back.
Yeah, and the entire trilogy, everybody.
I wonder if everybody was under contract from the beginning. Although they probably wouldn't need to be. I mean, these movies were going great until they weren't.
Yeah, and then the second it hit a snag, they stopped.
Yeah, they hit eject.
You want to hop right into it?
I guess let's hop right into it. Let's get into a critical analysis of Spider-Man 2.
Alright. Well, the film starts, we're meant to believe 2 years after. It's in real time.
Yeah, it's in roughly real time.
So, I like to imagine...
By the way, title card sequence, super 2000s.
Yeah, also very long.
Yeah, very long. And it was basically a long visual retelling of the first movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't need that.
Yeah. And in the 2 years since the last movie, Mary Jane Watson has suddenly become this really big fucking deal. Yeah.
I was going to say, in the 2 years' time, I like to imagine that, since we're never told, I like to imagine Spider-Man fought, like, Mysterio. And, like...
I was going to ask, do you think he's been, like, he's been leveling up in the meantime, or has he just been dealing with...
like, bullshit street
level guys?
It's probably just bullshit street level.
Yeah, we're never given anything.
It would have been cool if, like, J. Jonah had, like, headlines on the wall of, like, papers that they framed, and it's like, Spider-Man defeats the Vulture.
Yeah, or Rhino or somebody.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
But I guess that kind of cripples you if you wanted to do more.
Yeah.
So,
hey, we still haven't gotten a Mysterio in the movies, and I still fucking really want one.
We kind of got Rhino.
No, we got a Rhino. We got a Rhino.
We need Scorpion.
Scorpion's in one.
Craven.
Vulture looks like we're getting, who?
Craven.
Carnage.
Carnage might be the biggest one.
Yeah.
Or a good Venom.
Yeah. Yeah, are we even counting the ones from Spider-Man 3?
Let's focus back in on this one. We get Peter Parker. He is a pizza delivery boy.
Yes, since the last movie, he has taking a step backwards to being a bicycle delivery boy, and Mary Jane Watson we see on a whole bunch of modeling billboards, and she is also a Broadway actress.
Yeah.
So she's the biggest fucking deal in New York.
Yeah, my God, in New York City. So Peter is given basically an ultimatum because he's perpetually late to his job. He needs to deliver this pizza in like 8 minutes, or he's fired.
Played by his boss, played by the wonderful and funny Asif Manfi.
That's great. Another weird little role for a character. So Peter dons his Spider-Man costume to try and deliver this pizza, where we get another weird little cameo, this time by Donnell Rawlings.
Yeah, this movie's full of weird cameos.
Yeah. And I think it's during this scene, too, that we get... She was a little girl at the time, but a Disney Channel star.
Oh, no shit.
Now, when it was in this movie. And so, just add another one.
Yeah, sure.
And so, Peter, he delivers the pizza to another weird little cameo.
Bones.
It's Emily Deschanel.
She's a bone doctor.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
It's what she is, professionally.
With your guy, David Boreanaz.
I do love David Boreanaz. The perpetually underrated David Boreanaz.
He voiced Batman once, didn't he?
Yes, he did. In Year One? Something like that.
No, actually, I think Year One it was voiced by the guy who plays Jim Gordon on Gotham.
No shit.
Yeah.
Well,
Ben McKenzie.
Yeah, Ben McKenzie?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm right. So he is late delivering this pizza. He makes his way back to his boss, and he says, Peter, you're fired.
Yes. We are getting that Peter is a habitually unreliable person. He is often torn because he's late to things because he's always fighting things as Spider-Man. He doesn't have time for a real life.
Doesn't have time for Peter.
He doesn't have time for Peter because he's too busy as Spidey.
And so, after all of this, Peter's had a very rough day. He then goes to class, at least tries to go to class, and is late.
Yes.
And
he misses the whole goddamn class. He's not just late. He's not there.
He meets his professor, Dr. Kirk Connors, outside. He's like, oh, Dr. Connors, I'm coming to your class. And he's like, it's over, Parker.
Yeah. You missed my class. He's really mean to Peter.
Joe, who's Dr. Kirk Connors?
Dr. Kirk Connors, as we will see in the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and Comics Forever.
And the animated show.
The animated show, sure. He is the Lizard. He is a geneticist who is missing an arm, and he later tries to regrow that arm. That goes awry. He ends up becoming a monstrous lizard werewolf kind of thing.
I think they did it justice in Amazing Spider-Man 1.
I think it was a good job, yeah. From my memory, I've only seen it once.
This, really?
I think so.
This, it's always on FX, and someone's just like, oh, I'll watch like a half hour of that.
Sure.
The actor who played Dr. Kirk Connors in this, he was very mad that he never got to be the Lizard.
I bet. He
said he was promised.
I can imagine so.
So I bet Spider-Man 4 would have
been the Lizard. I believe it.
Should have been.
They tend to do that, like when they reboot a universe, they'll take the villain they were going to do last. For example, Scarecrow showed up in Batman Begins, and he was supposed to show up in Batman Triumphant.
Yeah, and played by Nicolas Cage.
It was going to be played by Nick Cage, it looks like.
Because Superman had just fallen through.
Yeah.
Lots of moving parts.
Lots of moving parts.
So, Peter he's just fucking up all over the place. And you can't really blame him because he's trying to be Spider-Man. And then he gets home that night, or at least back to Aunt May's house, and it's a surprise birthday party.
Surprise! It's your birthday! You forgot it's your birthday!
Did he forget, or is it just like...
Maybe he has a lot of head trauma from being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
That's never really brought up how, like, all of these superheroes were in these big battles before we knew what concussions were.
Yeah, they're really... That would be really cool for something to do for, like, a Batman Beyond.
Oh, when they have, like, super old Bruce Wayne, have him, like, also a little fucked up, a little NFL-ish.
Yeah, like, kind of like Jim McMahon.
Yeah.
That'd be great. No offense to Jim McMahon, who I like.
Great might not be the word, but yeah. It would be interesting.
You could win an Emmy.
Yeah, we're at Peter's birthday.
There's only 3 other people there.
There's only 3 people there. One of them is his Aunt May. Rosemary Harris. Rosemary Harris. The wonderful Rosemary Harris is there.
She's back. And we also see Mary Jane Watson, Peter's love interest, Kirsten Dunst, and also Harry Osbourne.
Sure.
And Franco is there. So they're all still a trio of friends. Must be kind of awkward for Mary Jane and Harry.
Sure.
Date. We learn here that Harry is now the head of...
She's still with Harry, which is a little confusing given the ending of the last movie.
They are?
Mary Jane and Harry, weren't they?
That might have gone over my head.
Maybe I was wrong about that. Or maybe they were just... I know that Mary Jane and Peter at least hadn't seen each other in quite a while.
No, she's with John James.
Yeah, she was with John James, you're correct. They at least haven't seen each other in quite a while.
Yeah. Harry is now taken over his dad's role at Oscorp.
And his dad's role of hating Spider-Man.
Yeah. He's now the head of the Special Projects Division. And, as you said, Mary Jane is a billboard model and an offstage Broadway actress.
Yes.
Or an off-Broadway stage actress, I should say.
There you go.
I did it. So, Peter, actually, when he was talking to Dr. Kirk Connors earlier, he said he's going to be writing a paper on fusion. And as he's talking to Harry, he says this because Harry is trying to make a fusion breakthrough.
Yes.
And they are funding Peter's idol, Otto Octavius' project. Otto Octavius, of course, being Alfred Molina. So Harry offers Peter the chance to meet him.
Yes.
To help write his paper, or just to interview him.
Just to meet him.
Yeah.
Always meet your heroes. That's what I say.
Yeah. And basically the idea of this project for Dr. Octavius is a perpetual sun providing renewable power for the whole world.
Yes, truly a breakthrough in human civilization.
Yeah, which sounds dope. Just like
it sounds incredible. What a breakthrough this could possibly be for everyone. To this surprise birthday party scene, a couple of things. One, it's very obvious that Peter and Mary Jane feel the same way about each other.
Yeah.
But neither one of them is willing to take that plunge. Especially Peter, he's very awkward, he's very afraid. Mary Jane seems a lot more confident, and it seems like she knows how he feels and she knows how she feels, and she's the more confident of the two. I never understand why she doesn't take that step and make the first move.
What I'll say is,
I for one blame the patriarchy.
No, I think it's just that Kirsten Dunst isn't a great actress. Ironically,
yeah,
because she's playing a Broadway actress.
Also true.
And I just don't think it's conveyed well. I don't know if it's a script problem with that.
She might be the weak link in this movie.
Yeah.
Also of note, Harry Osbourne, incredibly distrustful of Spider-Man.
And Peter, almost.
And Peter a little bit, but I think he's distrustful of Peter because of Peter's relationship with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
As his photographer.
He's like, how's the bug?
How's the bug is such a line. And it's putting so much stress on the Harry-Peter relationship.
Who, now we know, they don't live together anymore.
No, yeah, they moved out.
So, maybe that Harry bugged the shit out of him. No pun intended.
Something, or he's been driven off into his own little world.
Yeah, maybe Oscorp's taking up his time, or...
There's 1,000 things.
Yeah. And I believe it's at this time that Peter is...
Peter, by the way, living above the weirdest Eastern Bloc family.
Yeah. Or just across the hall.
Yeah, there is landlords. The weirdest, like, Ukrainian...
The Ditkoviches.
The Ditkoviches, named, of course, after...
Steve Ditko. Yeah, creator. Or artist of Spider-Man.
Yes.
If you want to know Steve Ditko, they basically ripped his design, and that's what Tom Holland's Peter Parker, or Spider-Man, looks like. Is that little spider emblem right there? That's Steve Ditko.
Yeah.
That's like his iconic look. So, and I think it's at this time that we learn that Peter's been disappointing Mary Jane because he's not been able to attend her show. Am I right?
Yes, correct.
And so that's going to be an ongoing thing in this movie.
Yes. Second appearance, by the way, of Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
In the first one, he was the ring announcer for Peter's professional wrestling debut. He plays a very rude usher here. But Peter keeps trying to show up to the show. He shows up late, gets turned away, and he basically can't do anything right. Peter's life as Spider-Man, his responsibility, as it's shown to us, is taking priority over what he wants to do. Need versus want is a very strong theme throughout this movie.
And it was actually a scene that I actually laughed at. It was there was like a car chase that Peter tried to stop, which is why he was late. and he like flipped over a car at Peter Parker.
Yeah,
like he's in like a suit.
He jumped over it.
Yeah. And he did a couple of flips, I think.
No, yeah, but I'm saying it makes it sound like he like threw a car.
Oh no. And then like two little kids are standing right there, and they're like, "How'd you do that?" And he's like, "Vegetables." And it's like, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something this movie lacks. I really feel about this original trilogy is they lack humor.
I was going to bring that up when he started getting into this true Spider-Man stuff. There's very little Spider-Man tit-for-tat joking going on in this movie. Especially from Tobey Maguire, who I've seen be funny in things. He can be funny. It's just the direction these movies took was not a funny tone.
No, even Tobey's funny in some of these scenes, whether it's on purpose or not.
Yeah. And I think that is to this movie's detriment because I think Spider-Man is much stronger when he is funny.
I think that's an improvement that was made in The Amazing Spider-Man and what the little we've seen of Spider-Man in the MCU.
I agree. When we get to The Amazing Spider-Man, we'll compare and contrast with this trilogy. But they do the humor much better, if I remember correctly.
This does something better, though. So
oh, absolutely.
Don't act like we're hating. So it's at this time that we meet Dr. Otto Octavius, and we go to his demonstration for his new perpetual sun. And
well, before this, we had also gotten a scene of Peter meeting him for the first time, being introduced through Harry. And Dr. Octavius is a true humanitarian. He doesn't care about money. He doesn't really care about the awards that might come. He wants to do good work. At least in part for his legacy.
Right.
He wants to do this cool thing because he wants to do it, not necessarily because he wants to exist, as much as he wants to be the one to do it.
His baby. His project. We also meet his wife.
We meet his wonderful wife. Neither one of them trust Oscorp.
No.
But they pay his bills, so he puts up with them.
They're giving him tritium, which is actually a real thing.
Oh, now I know.
Yeah.
Dr. Octavius is very tempting to say Dr. Ock, but I don't consider him Dr. Ock yet. He says that Peter is brilliant,
but
lazy. Have we been given evidence that Peter is brilliant yet? Have we seen that?
No.
Not really, right?
About all those spiders in the first one.
Yeah, we're really just kind of taking that as granted, and we have not been shown that Peter is a brilliant kid yet.
Well, I think some of the most that we get from Peter Parker, just in comics and in some iterations, is that the most genius thing that he does is create his web shooters. That's an easy thing to show us that he's a genius.
Yes.
But in this,
an engineering genius at least.
But in this, they had him be organic.
Chemical. Yeah.
They had it be organic, and that helps this plot for what it wanted to do. But that does take away from Peter being a genius.
I think it's interesting how much of a family unit Peter finds himself in when he's with the Octavius.
Yeah, he's sitting at their table.
He's sitting at their table. They're giving him, Otto is giving him very paternal, careful advice. It's very family. Yeah. It's very familial.
Considering this is probably how it would have been had the Parkers not whatever had happened to them.
Knowing what we know about the Parkers from the comics, how they were brilliant scientists, all this is probably what his life would have been a little bit closer to. Mm-hmm. And it's really kind of jarring when you realize that that's what's going on.
It's sad.
That you're seeing Peter with a true family for just a second. Mm-hmm. Not to say Aunt May and Uncle Ben were not his true family, but it's a little different.
Right. Because these people are more up Peter Parker's alley.
Yeah.
They're not just two elderly, loving people. They're also geniuses. And they share the same qualities as Peter.
Yes.
Because they're two very good people. Considering this man's going to become the villain, it's sad.
It's really sad. It's a true tragedy.
And I think that's why this movie's as good as it is.
Yeah.
Just because, Alfred Molina is conveying this so well. And so, now, the next day, we assume, is the demonstration of the fusion energy.
Before that, we get one more scene I want to touch on. Okay. We get the phone call scene where Peter tries to call in to Mary Jane to apologize for being late to the show.
Oh, okay.
And not being there.
Which is actually where we meet the Dickoviches, I think.
It's where we meet the Dickoviches. We've also now seen that Mary Jane, after the show, has a new boyfriend. Mm-hmm. We don't know who it is, but she's with somebody.
A handsome fella.
Which makes it like the fourth guy she's dated in 2 movies.
What, Flash, Harry, this guy.
It's at least 3.
4 by the end.
Yeah. Which I guess is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's been 2 years since Flash and Harry.
At the beginning of the movie, for some reason, I thought she was dating Harry, so in my mind, I was like, damn, hun. You are Rolodexing through this.
Good for you.
Yeah, have fun. But he makes a phone call to Mary Jane, and during the phone call, he runs out of money, so he's just speaking to dead air. He's trying to find the right words, but then the phone call cuts out. And then, to no one, he makes this symbolic confession to Mary Jane. And it's a wonderful window into his mindset about how he wants to tell her everything, he wants to be with her, but he feels like it would put her at risk.
Right.
And he just can't do that to somebody that he cares about this much. He can't risk them the same way he risked her in the last movie.
It really is. It's the typical superhero thing when they want to be with someone who's not of superpowers. They're like, oh, I just don't want you to get hurt. You know, my enemies will come for you. But this is really the first time we see this on film. Yeah. I mean, did the Reeves Superman ever touch on that with Lois?
I don't believe so. Lois died in one of those movies. They kept her right in there, but then by like 3 and 4, she was gone.
Right.
Margot Kidder, she literally at the beginning of Superman 3 is like, well, I want to cruise, I'll be back later, and then just never shows up again. I don't think I'm kidding.
The boat sank.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, this really is. I mean, it's such a common trope, but this might be the first time you ever see it.
Yes.
And it's done well.
It's done very well.
So
after that, then we move into
this scene.
The scene.
Oh,
fucking great.
And
scene.
When you juxtapose this with the first movie with Norman Osborn's.
Yeah, it's very Osbourne. It's a lot of Peter's villains come from science.
But this is so much more earned.
Yeah.
Because I think we had that scene of the sit down.
Yeah.
And we're hearing Otto just talk about science and just talk about his life, talk about the love that he has for his wife talking about just scientists in general and how they met.
Well, and I think they do a much better job of taking you through what's happening to Otto during all this, the fusion of the arms to him, and they connect to his spine. It's very body horror.
Yeah.
It's very body horror.
Something I've always wondered, was he always just going to have those in?
Could he take them out eventually?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's something that was never really...
I'm not sure how far he thought past getting this thing going.
Yeah.
But Otto has created a series of arms to help facilitate the experiment. Yeah. He can't get close to it, but if he has these and if he can control them with his mind, these long, metallic, snake-like arms... octopus-like arms, perhaps.
Yeah, sure.
I might say. It's wonderful special effects. It's really incredible special effects.
When the needles go into his body, you can actually be like, ooh.
Yeah, it's really off-putting.
And they tell us that these arms are almost artificial intelligence.
Yes.
They're very smart because Otto created them. They're also fueled by the tritium. And a reporter asked Otto, how do you make sure that you are still the one in control? And he has a chip at the top of his spine.
Inhibitor chip.
Yeah, at the top of his spine that lets him...
It protects his higher brain function.
Yeah, it lets him be in control. And the experiment starts.
It's a stunning success.
Yeah, it's working.
Until it isn't.
And then it gets too big.
Yes.
And he can't control it. And it fries his inhibitor chip and causes a huge explosion.
Costs him his life work. It costs him his health. It costs him his mind.
And probably most importantly, Rosie.
It costs him his wife. During the explosion, he has the little miniature son going, but it becomes unstable. And he's too open to risk. He is too confident in his ability to control power.
Because, well, also Peter said, like, what if the calculations are wrong? And
even if it's off by a fraction of a fraction.
And he said the calculations aren't wrong.
Yeah. He's unwilling to accept that his work could possibly be wrong. He knows what to do in his mind. And that is a massive character flaw. Mm-hmm. And that is what ends up causing all of this. The power alone, he says, the power of the sun in the palm of my hand. The power alone seems to be driving him a little mad.
Yeah.
Let alone before we get into the anything further. He doesn't shut it down when he can. When everybody says, you need to shut this down, he's like, I'm fine, I have this, don't worry, it'll stabilize. And it's this that ends up creating these massive explosions.
The glass window explodes.
The glass window explodes and shreds his wife.
Yeah. Brutal.
Brutal scene. You see the glass flying to her, you see her reflection in the glass, and then you just see her fall. And are we meant now to believe, because we see that the inhibitor chip is gone, that the arms are now in control of him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So they have a higher power.
Can we from here on consider Otto Octavius to also be a casualty of this experiment?
The Otto we knew.
The Otto we knew, certainly. There's no way he can come back. Is there?
I mean, the movie.
Well, no, I mean, it's important. Is there a salvageable Otto Octavius somewhere in there?
I think there is. I just think that the arms are the higher power.
Interesting.
I think there is still Otto in there. He's just not in control.
I think that's a good way to put it. But Peter leaves. He comes back as Spider-Man a moment later. Saves Harry Osbourne, who is not happy about that.
Yeah.
But it would
have been really funny if you're like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
You know, because there's a massive fucking problem, but Harry just doesn't care.
Yeah. Spider-Man eventually shuts down the reactor.
He turns it off. He unplugs it.
Yeah, he yanks out a bunch of plugs and it works. Oh, thank God that works. And
sure, I mean, why not?
And from there we start to see the cleanup. Otto's being led away right to surgery.
And we actually see his wife's dead body.
Yeah, we see his wife being led away in a body bag.
No, we see her face, and then they put a thing over it.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
And it's just so you know, she is dead. And so the scene immediately shifts to doctors trying to surgically remove the arms.
This is so out of a horror movie.
Oh, it's terrifying. This scene haunted me as a child. I'm not kidding. It scared the shit out of me. And so they're anybody take shot class? Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, they're going to cut off the arms. They need to unfuse them from the spine. It's going to be an intense procedure.
Hellacious process. Because
the arms have been fried a little bit, so now it's not as clean a removal. They've started to fray within his body and meld to his spinal column, and to his central nervous system.
And we see that as the doctor's about to cut in, he sees that one of the arms is swaying because they're all propped up.
Yeah.
And they start going berserk.
Well, they start operating in survival, and they start murdering people.
Doctors, yeah.
Yeah, they begin to start murdering the doctors, and eventually they murder all of them, and Otto is waking up throughout this, and he's coming to accept the arms and to cede to their control and to their order.
Yeah. It's terrifying.
Is this a reflection just of the arms, or is this a reflection of Otto coming to accept something more powerful than himself, which is kind of what we've already seen him do?
Yeah. I think either's an acceptable thing to...
Well, motherfucker, pick one.
Well, I think it's the first one. I think the arms are in control.
I'm not sure I agree. I think this is already a character flaw within him to seek power. I think he is certainly crazier than he was.
Well, I mean, he created these arms.
True.
So you think that he's kind of like, ooh, look what I created. Like, that's what...
Aw, he's proud. Aw.
Yeah. I'm saying, is that what you think?
Yeah. What do you think the city thinks is going on? Like, do people know, oh, we nearly all got fucking blown up
by, this fusion reactor? Yeah. No. I think it could have been in the paper or something. Maybe the Daily Bugle wrote about it. I doubt it was a major story. I'm sure it was just science experiment goes wrong.
Yeah.
You know?
We cut right to the Daily Bugle, where they actually do name him Dr. Octopus, I believe.
Well, that they're trying to figure out some names.
And they throw one out.
Yeah, and they throw one out, and he goes, Dr. Strange.
It's taken.
Yeah, he's like, it's taken. It's like, ooh.
By the way, J. Jonah Jameson, still fucking killing it.
Oh my god, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's, again, one of the best characters. There is no Bonesaw McGraw in this movie, so we can't...
Yeah, he might be a number one in this one.
Well, I would also say Doc Ock.
Yeah, Alfred Molina fucking kills it in this movie.
Like, I would argue that this might be the second best performance as a villain we've had.
Behind whom?
Heath.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, this is pretty goddamn up there.
I mean, it's top 5. I think without a question.
Well, without a question.
But I mean, if I have to sit down and look at every single person who's ever been a villain, Alfred Molina is up there with just about everybody. But Heath's on a different planet.
And so far, we haven't seen him necessarily do anything particularly villainous.
Well, I'm just saying Alfred's performance.
But in the next scene, we do get that.
Oh, sure, yeah. There's a...
I say him because if we're accepting that the arms were the ones killing those doctors.
Yeah. As you said, there's a scene of Peter and Aunt May, who we learned at the birthday party, she's facing foreclosure.
She ain't got no money.
Yeah. I guess Ben did not have good life insurance, or he just did not leave them well off.
She fucking blew it all in online gambling.
At the slots.
Yeah.
Or male...
Slots as far as the eye can see.
Male strippers or something. Rosemary Harris being nasty.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get a loan.
From Joel McHale.
From Joel McHale, sure. Another just weird little role.
Yeah.
For Joel McHale. And while they're there, Dr. Ock is there and starts robbing the place. And we see that Peter just runs away from his aunt and Joel McHale. And he's like, oh, some kid you got there. And then, boom, Spider-Man comes swinging in to stop Doc Ock. And it's actually a pretty good action scene. It's
a really good action scene. The cops here are idiots, naturally, as are most superhero movie cops.
Shoot him in the face.
Yeah, they pull out their guns, they're like, easy now, Dr. Octopus. It's like, no, you might need to put him down, guys. He just ripped the wall open to get to the safe. You can throw one in his knee at least.
And I think you know that he murdered all those doctors.
Yeah, you have to at this point. We've seen the reason that he's robbing the bank. He has returned to the accident site, and it's his pride makes him blame Spider-Man. He does not believe that anything he did was wrong. Spider-Man somehow fucked up the whole situation.
Yeah.
So that is his thrust throughout the movie now. He wants to, A, get revenge on Spider-Man. B, he wants to rebuild the fusion reactor in an atonement action. Yeah. He wants to make it right somehow.
And he is mourning.
And finish his life's work. Yeah, and he's mourning his wife as well.
These two are just beating the shit out of each other. And this is the scene where he takes Aunt May as hostage.
Yes, he grabs Aunt May. I'm not sure why.
I just think it's some woman.
Yeah, she's just very close.
Yeah. It's the same thing as you said in the first one when, it's pretty convenient that it was Uncle Ben who got murdered. It's like, same applies here, but why not? She's standing right there.
True.
He didn't leave and then come back with her.
It's great action in this scene. It's great action in this scene.
Yeah, they're scaling a building.
Yes.
Spider-Man using his web crawling abilities, and Doc Ock using his arms.
Yeah.
His tentacles, if you will. And they're just beating the shit out of each other. Peter saves Aunt May. Doc Ock gets away. He's
not particularly emotional during this scene, which kind of bugged me.
No, he's not saying a word.
He's not saying a word. He's not really getting across any emotions. He's fighting for the life of his aunt 10 stories up. 15, 20 stories up.
Yeah.
You can have a little emotion here, champ. You can be a little pissed off and worried and sad and all this stuff. In my opinion.
And also, make some jokes.
Yeah.
It would be really cool if he's like, come on, Ock. And he's doing shit, and then all of a sudden he grabs Aunt May and he's like, let her go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it flips him. That would be fantastic.
That's all you need. It just takes this movie, which is like an A, and it gets it there. You know what I mean? That's how you get your A+, if it's just little tiny character tweaks. Because everything else about this movie is fine. It's more than fine. Just need that funny. This is the character that you can do that with. You know? You can basically have Spider-Man say anything. He's some kid. You know? I keep going back in Civil War. He's like, It's like, hey, I think you forgot something, and he slings like a car door or whatever back at the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Or when he catches his punch, he's like, dude, you got a metal arm?
That's awesome.
That's awesome. He would be saying shit like that. I guess since he knows this is Otto.
Yeah, maybe he's worried Otto will recognize his voice somehow.
Yeah. But come on, Peter. So, yeah, he saves Aunt May. Doc Ock gets away. The next scene is at the planetarium, right?
I don't remember what happens at the planetarium.
Remember, it's where J. Jonah Jameson is honoring his son, Captain John Jameson, who turns out...
in the comics...
Oh, yeah, Joe, who's John Jameson in the comics? This is actually who I wanted in the movie.
John Jameson in the comics, he is... he's the one who goes into space. He comes back with the Venom symbiote. But he also, because of radiation throughout that experience, or it might have been like a radiation rock he came back with.
I think it was a rock.
He is... there's a fucking name for the character, I can't remember. He is basically a werewolf.
It's not Wolfsbane, is it?
No, that's a New Mutant. I don't remember off the top of my head, but basically he's a werewolf. So it becomes a whole thing with J. Jonah Jameson is... railing against Spider-Man, but then he also fucking needs Spider-Man once in a while. Isn't that wonderful? But yeah, we're at the planetarium. Man-Wolf, thank you. I knew it was going to be something like that.
Wavy.
But Peter, he's trying to talk to Mary Jane, and he still has feelings for her, and he's still trying to woo her.
Well, the reason he's there also is he's working for the Daily Bugle.
Yes.
He's taking photos.
And it's so adorable watching Peter, recite poetry to Mary Jane, which is something that Otto suggested. Rosie suggested.
Girls love poetry.
Yeah.
It's like, that's good parental advice.
But I think Kirsten Dunst is actually pretty good in this scene. She has been hurt by men, often, including her father, including Harry, Peter, and she just can't deal with it anymore. And she's with someone who's stable, and that's good enough for her. And I like seeing her stand up for herself.
Yes.
I think she was good here.
I 100% agree. Yeah, this might be the best Mary Jane we get.
Yes.
Which is fine.
And then immediately after...
Well, I wanted to say we get Harry in this scene very drunk.
Yes, he's wasted.
And he is berating Peter, saying like, oh, you're friends with Spider-Man.
He's a little over the top drunk.
No, he's not. I was just hamming it up. But he's saying like, oh, you stole my girlfriend. You suck. My father, he loved you, not me. Shit like that.
And immediately after, Mary Jane gets engaged. Yeah. I don't remember him drunk. I might have been looking away for some reason. Immediately after this announcement gets made, Mary Jane Watson is engaged, and Peter is fucking heartbroken.
Oh, yeah. How can you not be, Peter?
How long have these two been dating? Is he a Mormon? Why would he propose this early? What are you doing?
Maybe 6 months.
Yeah,
tops.
A year.
Yeah.
Maybe. What are you doing, you weird Mormons? Come on.
Maybe he's like, I've been to space.
Listen, I need to get on your health insurance. I'm kind of a man-wolf.
So, Peter is emotionally fragile now.
Yes.
He's broken.
He's also becoming physically fragile.
Yeah.
Because he keeps, for some reason, losing his powers intermittently. And it's happening more and more often for longer and longer. We're not really getting a cause and effect about why he's losing his powers. It seems to be an existential crisis.
Yeah.
And it's really messing with him. It's been happening throughout the movie where he'll have trouble with his webs, or he'll have trouble sticking to things a little bit, or he's not as strong as he expects himself to be in a moment, or his spider sense is failing him.
Mm-hmm.
And he ends up having...
When he goes to a doctor as well.
He goes to a doctor and he can't figure it out. The doctor says it might be mental.
Yeah.
And he ends up having this vision of his Uncle Ben.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about that. Speak on that.
Yeah, it's basically he's devastated by his personal setbacks, by Mary Jane, his powers failing him, and he has a vision of that final conversation that he had with Uncle Ben, and he basically says, "I want a life of my own. I'm Spider-Man no more. I'm giving Peter his time."
Yep. He just can't do it anymore. He embraces living his own life.
And we get the iconic rip from the comic book shot of the Spider-Man costume in the trash with Peter. Could have just hung it up in the closet. With Peter walking away down an alley.
Yep.
And I saw a thing that was supposed to say, oh, that's the same alley that him and Mary Jane kissed in the first movie.
We have no indication of that.
That's pretty convenient. There's more than one alley in New York City.
Yeah. But now we no longer have Spider-Man, we just have Peter Parker.
And while it is too late for him to rekindle his relationship with Mary Jane, he starts doing better in school.
He finally seems smart. He finally seems like the brilliant kid that we've been told that he is.
Yeah. And he's things are looking up, he's walking with his chest up, he's like, I'm doing good.
He's back in glasses for some reason. Apparently, just as soon as he said, I'm done, all of the Spider-Man powers got up and left.
Yeah. And also it's at this point that he confesses to Aunt May how he was responsible for Uncle Ben's death.
Yes.
Which is a brutal scene.
It's heart-wrenching. It's absolutely heart-wrenching.
I think they both did this is probably the best Rosemary Harris has been.
Yes.
Just talking about Uncle Ben and Peter saying that I could have stopped that robber. Did he tell her he was pro wrestling? He didn't say that. So
I don't think I was fighting Bonesaw McGraw. She's like, Bonesaw? Was he ready?
Oh man, now I wish they would have done that.
Aunt May canonically, huge pro wrestling fan.
Huge, big Iron Sheik fan.
Yeah. Too sweet.
We also have Doc Ock trying to build the machine again, and knowing that he needs tritium, he makes a deal with Harry Osbourne in order to get it. Harry wants him to bring him Spider-Man so he can kill him in exchange for the tritium. And he tells Otto that the way to get to Spider-Man is through Peter Parker.
Yeah, he sells out his friend ASAP.
Yeah.
As soon as possible, he is telling him, Peter, he can find him here. He loves this kind of food. He's giving him everything.
A list of fears.
Yes, turn-ons, turn-offs. He's giving him everything. During this time, though, we see that J. Jonah Jameson has found out that Peter Parker, or that Spider-Man has quit being Spider-Man. He finds the costume.
Yeah, he's given the costume.
He's given the costume.
And he refused to give the guy a reward for it.
Yeah.
Trash man.
And we also see Peter going around the city. He's not even being a good citizen anymore.
Yeah, he's seeing people getting jumped.
Yeah, and he's just like...
I'm not Spider-Man, so you could at least call the cops.
Yeah.
Try to take a photo of them, you photographer.
And I did really enjoy that for some reason. But we see that crime is up 75%.
Yeah, that's a shit
in the city. These cops are terrible.
Were they just relying on Spider-Man?
I think they were. They had this guy going around and taking care of all this. Why would they need to? But it really speaks to how Peter was dealing with street-level crime a lot more than he was dealing with the Otto Octaviuses of the world.
Yeah. So we have to assume that the only other big villain was the Green Goblin.
Yeah, I think so.
Because, we probably would have gotten other mentions. What about that time when he defeated the Shocker, Jonah? You think, like, shut up, Robbie, or whatever. I wish we would have gotten stuff like that. I'm a sucker for Easter eggs like that.
Yeah.
Like the Doctor Strange one.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't recognize that the first time I saw this movie. Because I wasn't that familiar with Doctor Strange. So now... Also, you remember in that scene, Harry also said, "Don't hurt Peter."
Yeah, I know. Damn, he said not to hurt him.
I was gonna. So, Dr. Ock, or Peter's meeting with Mary Jane at a coffee shop.
Yes.
And they're just talking, having fun, but then Peter kind of tells her that he loves her.
Well, no, before this, we have a very important scene. Because by this time, he has decided to become Spider-Man again. He is realizing that the city is starting to have trouble. He starts to step in to save people a little bit. He saves a girl. And he sees things going on that he knows he can help, and he's starting to feel guilty about it.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to visit his Aunt May. And Aunt May, he finds, is moving out of her goddamn house. Mm-hmm. She's going to move in with a friend. She's getting basically evicted. Aunt May gives this wonderful speech about heroism and just citizenship and people helping each other. And it kind of seems like she knows what's going on. It's very pointed.
Yeah, it really is.
I think there's always some ambiguity about whether or not Aunt May knows that Peter is Spider-Man before he tells her.
Yeah.
You know?
Although, what I do want, because it always comes down to comparing to the others, with this new one, with Tom Holland as Peter Parker and Marissa Tomei as Aunt May, I want a scene where he tells her. Maybe not in the Spider-Man Homecoming.
Where he comes out.
I mean, kinda. How symbolic would that be?
Yeah, a little bit.
Or not in Spider-Man Homecoming. I don't want it there. I don't want it in an Avengers movie. I want it in either in Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3 of the MCU, where he tells her. Maybe it's on his deathbed.
Ooh, you are really getting intense on it.
Yeah, I mean, because he fights the Green Goblin when he's killed in the comics. Spoiler alert, we all know that. We
watched the first one.
He is killed by the Green Goblin, basically at his house, in his front lawn. And Aunt May finds out there.
Yeah.
So, let's do that. Let's be thug about it.
Yeah, we're getting into a little bit of fan fiction territory, but I still dig it.
I'm just saying that's what I would like. Because it brought it back to the scene.
No, for sure.
There's also a little neighbor boy there.
But Peter decides that the city still needs a Spider-Man and he can still help people, so he is going to still try his best to help people. He takes back his costume from J. Jonah Jameson.
J. Jonah at that point was like, maybe Spider-Man was a hero.
Yeah, he was just teetering on the precipice of maybe we did need him. But he comes back around to hating him and wanting to get that Spider-Menace. And it's then that Peter meets back up with Mary Jane. And Mary Jane, who is having a little bit of concerns about her own engagement.
Yeah. And so she was reconsidering her relationship, but he stunned her when he said he couldn't return her love. Peter said, "I can't be with you." And I don't know if anybody out there has ever had a girl that you like, but normally, that's not what you would say.
Well, no, he is, but it's a very mature moment for him.
No, sure, no, it makes sense in this scenario.
He can't be with her. It's so true to him in this moment. But in the middle of this diner Mary Jane says, "Well, I want you to kiss me, because then I'll know." Mm-hmm. Which might make sense. As they're about to kiss, Peter's spider sense goes off. Doc Ock is attacking. And the way he attacks, the glass shatters on the diner window. Yeah. And it's very reminiscent of how Doc Ock's wife died.
Yeah, how Rosie died. And Peter basically gator rolls Mary Jane out of the way.
He saved her.
It was really cool. No, I liked it.
Yeah.
And Otto starts beating the shit out of Peter Parker. He thinks this is Peter Parker, by the way.
Yes.
And he uses like one of his tentacles to just like punch Peter through a bookcase.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And he takes Mary Jane as hostage. And the second time that she's been taken hostage in one of these movies. Won't be the last. So Peter is underneath all that rubble, and then he explodes out of it like the Hulk. And I don't know if that's really a Spider-Man move.
He's very strong.
I know he's very strong, but you normally see him like popping out of rubble.
That is not unheard of.
And so he and Doc Ock battle on a bell tower, and then subsequently on a runaway subway train.
It's one of the best fights in comic book movie history. The train fight? Yeah. It's one of the absolute best. The action is incredible.
CGI holds
It's very fluid. The CGI is still wonderful. I think the fact that they're on a train, there's something in conversation scenes where if people are walking, it adds momentum to the scene. You never feel like the scene is static. I think the same thing is going on with this train where you always feel like new stuff is happening. Right. It's almost like a video game level in a way. Sure. Like you gotta jump over this now, and now you gotta duck here. And it is just fucking great. The action is so good.
And at some point during this battle, Peter's mask comes off.
Yes.
And as he's trying to stop this train, Doc Ock leaves, and says, like, "Hey, I know you gotta stop this train, dumbass." And
almost word for word.
I wish you would have done that. That'd be funny.
Yeah. Good luck, asshole.
Peter's like, "I'm working on it," with his mask off. This is, you see, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah, it's Tobey Maguire. No doubt about it.
And he stops it using like a bunch of webs against the building.
Yes, through extreme physical exertion.
Yeah.
To the point of exhaustion. And it's the most we've ever seen Spider-Man have to do, at least physically. Tobey Maguire's not great at playing physical exertion.
No, he's like,
it's not. It's a little. It's not great.
It's a bunch of memes now of like when you gotta take a dump. You know, it's a bunch of that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he's trying, but he's kind of muffin topping over his suit.
Over the neck of his suit.
And that's not his fault, it's just the suit's super tight.
Yeah.
And there's something about the Spider-Man suit I've always wondered is, like, when he puts the mask on, it's super seamless. But then, like, when he's just holding the mask, it's kind of droopy.
Yeah.
Does it, like, Velcro or magnetize to the rest of the suit? I know I'm getting off track here, but it's just something that bugs me. No pun intended.
Pun intentional.
Yeah, shut up. And so, he's basically, in almost like a Christ allegory, people are like passing his body throughout the train.
Yes, and his arms are to his side like the crucifix. It's very Christ-like. And it kind of comes out of nowhere for me. Yeah. I never get this... he's
not Superman.
He's not Superman, who has always been a little bit more of a Jesus-y type of character. He is a savior of the city, but this is kind of the moment... This is where we get, as we had in the last movie, the city rising up to save Spider-Man.
This seemed much better than the first one.
Yes, the first one was terrible. The city is coming up to save him, much like how he just saved them.
And Peter wakes up and realizes he's not wearing his mask. And everybody's like, "It's alright, man."
Yeah, they're not going to tell. They understand and appreciate.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. That would never happen.
So nowadays, it's like, yo! Like
it would be so over. Snapchat, it's not even funny.
That is something you can't do nowadays.
Yeah.
Because everybody would have their fucking phone out and just ruining it.
Yeah, but it shows a level of trust between Spider-Man and the city.
Yeah.
That has been earned.
A couple of kids.
Even though he kind of left them alone for the last month or so.
Yeah.
Even though
died.
Even though crime is up 75%. Once everybody's done looking at him, though, Dr. Ock shows up again.
Yeah, and also a couple of kids gave him back his mask.
A couple of kids gave him back his mask.
Let's go, Spider-Man.
And the city again steps in, is like, "Hey, you have to go through us if you're going to get to him." And Doc Ock's like, "Cool." And goes right through him.
Beats the shit out of all of them, like smashes them all up against the sides. Which is, like, awesome. Like, that's what the villain should do.
It's fantastic.
Now...
He knocks him out, and now he has Spider-Man.
Yeah, and he takes him to Harry Osborn's mansion, where he exchanges him for the Tritium.
Yes.
And Harry, in a big-time scene, unmasks Spider-Man.
Very intense.
It is Peter Parker. Harry drops his knife. He's freaking out.
Franco does great in this scene. He's doing really good work here. It's a little rushed, though. Ooh. I feel like this whole scene could have used some time to breathe. Harry is not willing to believe it's his friend, that his friend, in his own mind, killed his father.
He says, "You killed my dad."
Yeah.
And Peter says, "Harry, he's got MJ.
Yeah, I need to go. I don't have time to explain any of this.
Yeah.
I need you to trust me. I'll talk to you soon."
Yeah, we'll play basketball in the next movie, don't worry.
Yeah. We'll go bird dog some chicks, I promise.
And so Harry, I think more just stunned. Peter is just able to leave.
Yeah, he just gets out of there. And we are moving to endgame time.
Yeah. And we see that Doc Ock is now in an abandoned waterfront warehouse, where he is holding Mary Jane as hostage.
Yeah, it's where it's the scene of the accident from earlier in the movie.
Oh, is it the exact building?
I think so, yeah.
Oh, okay. After the two battle, and Peter unmasks himself to Otto Octavius.
Yes.
And he says...
Everybody in this movie seems to know who Spidey is now.
Yeah.
Harry knows, MJ knows, Otto knows. It seems like Aunt May knows. Even Robbie from the paper, it seems like he knows. You know, we don't really talk about him.
Because he's like, when they're talking about Spider-Man, he's like looking at Peter.
He's like making really pointed comments to Peter the whole time, like, we could really use Spider-Man these days.
I guess because, like, he takes photos of him, so it's like you could talk to him.
Yeah, but it really comes across as, you need to get back in this fucking game, dude.
Yeah. And basically, upon seeing Peter's face, and Peter pleading with him to shut down the reactor, Otto kind of comes back to sanity.
Yes, I'm not sure I like this, if I'm being honest. I don't like that willpower overcomes biomechanics. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because he's not a character who was really run on emotion.
Yes.
I mean, this is a scientific reason.
Yeah, he physically is like this for a reason. It's not a choice or a habit or an idea that he has to overcome. It's something physically manifested within himself. The
character, for comparison's sake, that I would compare Otto Octavius to is almost like a Victor Freeze.
Yes, he's very Victor Freeze.
A Mr. Freeze. But unlike Mr. Freeze, you're right, his is more mechanical. Victor Freeze could probably make a conscious choice to stop, you know, unless he's been driven to insanity. But in this, he really does. I think it's fine, just because maybe...
No, it's not a huge problem, and it comes across great, and Alfred Molina does an awesome job.
Yeah, and I think it's because it's like, this is how strong of a mind Otto has, that maybe he was able to come back.
Sure. It's the big emotional climax of the movie, and it's very interesting in this movie that the physical climax came before the emotional climax. It almost always goes the other way.
Yeah.
It almost always goes, you have the emotional climax, everybody is galvanized to their position, and then you have the physical fight that everybody goes home on.
Yeah.
It's very rare to have it the other way around, and I think it's to the positive in this movie.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And Otto agrees to sacrifice himself to basically submerge the reactor.
Yes, he's restarted the reaction before he came to his senses, and now he has to stop it somehow.
Yeah.
For some reason, they can't pull the plug again. I guess he put in a couple of fail-safes, we're meant to believe. But now he's going to sacrifice himself. The science seems a little odd. It's basically a nuclear bomb that he's going to put underwater.
Yeah, I said during the movie, I was like, I wish I knew how like scientifically accurate this was.
Yeah.
Because I get it's a not a real thing anyway, but tritium's real. I just wonder how that would work. You know, I wonder if some scientists are watching like, that's total bullshit. It takes me out of the movie every time.
Yeah.
So that must be a burden, you know? When you're watching shit like this, like the science just does not work for me.
You want someone to come in and Neil deGrasse Tyson up this movie?
Well, not Neil deGrasse Tyson. He does it like a jerk. So I can't follow him on Twitter because he's always like, that Batman v Superman movie doesn't make any sense. Like,
this Care Bear stuff is bullshit. Bears can't shoot good feelings out of their stomachs. Actually, bears don't have the elbows to hug. Fuck off, Neil.
And he drowns.
Yes, he does sacrifice himself.
Yeah, and it stops the destruction of the city. And as Spider-Man saved the city, basically, along with Otto, MJ sees that it's Peter.
Yes, and she is now fully aware of the scope of their relationship.
I will say, I think she did a good job in this scene, too.
Ooh, boy, I'm not sure I agree with that.
I think her just looking at Peter like, holy shit. You don't agree? That's fine.
I didn't think it was great.
That's fine.
I also thought it was odd that the way she played it was like it was a full blindside realization.
That's fair.
And I don't think it was a full blindside realization. Earlier we see that she's trying to recreate the Spider-Man kiss with John Jameson, who she's
getting
married to. And then she's trying to recreate that kiss with Peter, so it seems like she might be trying to piece it together. And that she really kind of has this suspicion, at least. But in this scene, it's played like she had no idea.
Well, and she also says the line, I think I always knew.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, then you're right. She didn't play it as that.
Yeah.
Maybe it could have been direct. Maybe that's Raimi's fault. You know, the director.
It's possible.
Because he probably told her, act like you're so shocked. You know what I mean?
Whatever happened, it's an issue. Didn't we get another scene of her like without a bra or something in this movie?
Yeah, it was this scene. You could see her nipple again.
What's going on, guys? Sure. What are we doing? What are we doing?
Gratuitous titty scenes, as I call them. And he tells her here that he's loved her, but cautioned her that Spider-Man will always have enemies. I can't let you take that risk. I will always be Spider-Man. You and I can never be. And
it's very powerful.
Very powerful. It's heartbreaking. Two love each other. We know she's getting married. He's Spider-Man. It sucks.
Yeah.
And then the next scene we get is a little...
it's a teaser.
It's like a teaser. Yeah, it's like a post-credit.
It's basically a post-credit scene before the final scene of this movie.
Yeah, it's out of place.
Yeah.
Harry is in his mansion, very distraught almost, and he has a vision of his father in a mirror. Same mirror that Norman was looking in the first movie.
Yes.
And
where he was conversing with evil Norman.
Yeah. And he's demanding that Harry kill Peter, Spider-Man, with the dagger. And Harry's like, no, I can't, he's my friend. Yes. And he throws the dagger through the mirror, and he finds a cache of Green Goblin weapons and the glider.
Yes.
And he sees...
It's a big bunker in the house.
Which when did he build that?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. When did Norman have this installed? Because there's no way he did it all himself.
No. It's like very well put together.
but also, so Harry is devolving into becoming his own Green Goblin style figure.
Yeah.
Obviously. But Norman became the Green Goblin because of the serum.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because he was crazy. So was Harry introduced to that serum at some point, or is it just craziness? Do we have to go back and redefine the Green Goblin from the first movie?
I said at the time, this really takes away from Norman Osborn.
It really does. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit with what we've already learned about the Green Goblin character.
I will say, it's from this point on that these movies are bad.
Yes, as soon as
Harry...
Yeah, as soon as Harry goes crazy, as soon as you see Harry walking around with that dagger trying to figure stuff out, the Spider-Man franchise never quite recovers.
Yeah.
It's never going to be as good as it's been leading up to this.
And, because, I mean, like we said when we broke down the first movie, we wish we would have gotten something like Norman was kind of crazy before the serum.
No, he was stable as a table.
He was the nicest man on the planet.
That we could tell.
He was so nice to Peter.
He had an angsty teen son, but that happens.
And Harry was just like, my dad sucks. And it's like, well, you're like a 17-year-old burnout. Like,
we never saw evidence of that.
And then all of a sudden he's crazy, validating everything. So it would have been better had we gotten that. And now who the fuck knows what happened? You know what I mean? Because apparently, is the house haunted? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. Maybe that's it this whole time. Or he's not even dead.
Yeah.
That was just like an LED recording. Like from Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
No, I recorded a lot of scenarios before I died.
It's so true. Like, it just takes a dive. Even this last scene I don't like very much is the wedding of Mary Jane and John Jameson.
Big wedding.
Big time wedding. J. Jonah's there, of course.
We're meant to believe it's a big citywide wedding.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because he's like a hero.
Yeah, he's a hero. She's a Broadway actress, cover girl model.
Yeah.
It's a big fucking deal.
And she leaves him.
Yes, she is a runaway bride.
Mm-hmm. She's literally running through like Central Park.
Yeah, in her bridal gown. I feel so bad for John Jameson.
Oh my god.
I feel so bad for him. He got left at the altar. What a bitch. Honestly.
Come on.
Please don't do that.
All that money spent.
Get an annulment.
Because you know she didn't pay for that wedding.
No, yeah, get an annulment. But what changed from the moment... If she was having these concerns, then have them before you put on the goddamn gown.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Nothing changed in that moment. It's not like she received some new information that day that changed it. Postpone, figure it out,
and then leave him. But yeah, I mean, you just...
But she knows who she loves. To her credit, she is following her heart.
Yeah.
And she is going back to Peter. She finds him in his weird Ukrainian apartment. And she doesn't care. No. They have a lot of issues to work out. They will work them out.
And they kiss.
And they kiss.
And
yes.
And they are interrupted by police sirens. And Peter kind of looks out the window. And she affectionately says, suck my dick. No.
Well, hey.
Go get him, Tiger.
Go get him, Tiger. The classic Mary Jane. Go get him, Tiger.
Yeah. And
she's supportive.
And then he is swinging.
Yeah, he swings away to go help. It's great CGI work.
Although I said when we were watching it, it's like as he's swinging, I was like, that's a good way to end the movie. And then it cuts right back to the apartment, and she's just
it's like a 10-second shot of her just like watching him swing away, and then the movie ends. And you can take out that shot of her just watching, and I think it's a little bit more.
It's a better ending.
Yeah, it's a better ending to just have him.
It's just like Peter Parker, Spider-Man's doing his thing.
Yeah.
I guess supposed to set up the last one, though, of all the angst between the two.
Yep. So that is the critical plot breakdown, as we see it, of Spider-Man 2. Yeah. Let's talk about these characters a little bit. Peter Parker, played by Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man.
Played by Peter Parker, played by Spider-Man.
Fuck off. Spider-Man, played by Peter Parker, played by Tobey Maguire. Do you think he is better or worse in this movie? Let's break it up. Do you think Spider-Man is better or worse in this movie?
Ooh. Well, I think he's the same.
He's very similar, right? Do you think Peter is better in this movie?
I like Peter better.
He's way better. Yeah. It's a much, much, much better Peter Parker in this movie. Yeah. I think the conflict is perfect.
Yep.
I think it's played very well by Tobey Maguire.
The internal struggle
is always very obvious. Usually it's very easy to do that in the comics because you have the internal dialogue.
Yeah. Bubbles.
The bubbles, and just it's much easier to do. That's why a character like Batman is tough to get right, because so much of it is going on in his own head. Mm-hmm. But I think it's always visible on screen. They show without telling us often.
Yeah, they don't spoon feed you like you're an idiot.
I think the arc of him coming to terms with being Spider-Man and having his relationships too, and trusting that the people around him can make their own decisions, I think that's a wonderful arc. I think the Peter Parker stuff in this movie is awesome.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I think it really, really, really works.
Yes. Let's talk about Mary Jane Watson, as played by Kirsten Dunst.
We've touched on this podcast before about how she's not the greatest actress.
Yeah. She
has her moments.
She's alright. She can do some good stuff. And she's been good in other movies. Yeah. I've liked her more in other movies than I've liked her in these.
Yeah. And I think part of it is them not really writing a female character well.
Sure.
Because in all three movies, she gets captured.
Yes. She is very damsel in distress in this movie.
In all of the movies.
Pretty much every woman in this movie gets captured at some point.
Yeah, Aunt May does. Well, I guess Betty Brant's safe.
Yeah, she's keeping it strong.
Not a lot of women in this movie. Now that I'm thinking about it, Rosie dies.
Yeah.
That's sad. She was fine. Nothing to hang your hat on if you're Kirsten Dunst. But also nothing that actively takes me out of the movie. There's the character that I always point to that is my least favorite character in any comic book movie ever.
I already know what you're going to say. Because we talk about it all the time.
We talk about it all the time.
Let's say it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Rachel Dawes.
Okay.
We both said the same thing. I gave the character name, you gave the actress.
Kate Holmes played Rachel Dawes as well.
Yeah. The Maggie Gyllenhaal Rachel Dawes.
In arguably the best comic book movie of all time, The Dark Knight, Maggie Gyllenhaal's Rachel Dawes bugs the ever-loving shit out of me.
It's not good. It's not good.
She's a fine actress, too.
She's great. She's a really good actress. She's not good in that.
But my God, I hate that character in that movie. When she dies, I'm like, good, finally, fuck. We'll get into that when we do those movies.
Oh, I assure you we will.
So moving on to Otto. How did you feel about Otto Octavius, Joe?
Alfred Molina plays Otto Octavius. There's not as much Otto Octavius as I remembered, actually.
No, there's really not.
There's only 5 or 6 scenes with him, but that's okay. I thought he did an awesome job. I thought it was a very intimidating Otto Octavius. I always understood where he was coming from and what his goals were.
It was grief mixed with revenge.
And he was also crazy, but they played his crazy well. We didn't understand what he wanted. We knew what he wanted. He blamed Spider-Man for this loss. Yeah. He wanted to get back at Spider-Man and then finish his work. Alfred Molina, fucking amazing actor. I can't say enough. God, he did so good in this. The paternal stuff that he has before he goes crazy, I've never appreciated as much as I've seen it in the movies before, but I've never appreciated it as much as I appreciated it in this movie.
Yeah.
In this rewatch.
I mean, there's not much more you can say. I mean, it's like we said, top.
He kills it. The only thing is, I think it ends a little weird.
His death?
His death and him, like, coming back to his senses.
Do you think that they should have explained that better?
Yeah.
Maybe something in the chip or something?
Yeah, or something. He gets fried or electrocuted or something.
Again?
Yeah, something.
He gets bonked on the head and all he needs is another
bonk on the head.
That's what you would have wanted?
Listen, man. If it were, it's a trope for a reason. It kind of works. The Kim Tut style.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
It works. Well, I'm getting word that we have been canceled as a podcast for me being a dumbass. This has been fun. Harry Osbourne, as played by James Franco.
I think he has some really good moments.
He has some really good moments. Completely falls apart in that last scene.
Oh, it sucks. And also the last movie completely goes off an edge.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. His costume sucks.
Spoiler alert, gang. Yeah, super rough.
We didn't have to do that movie.
If I didn't feel honor bound.
Yeah.
But I think James Franco does a great job.
And Franco, we all know, is a great actor.
Sure.
Especially now.
I'm not sure we all know that.
Yeah, he is. He's been great and stuff.
Some people hate him.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. I hate James Franco.
Some people find him super annoying. He's not in this, though. He's really good in this.
He's good in this.
He's good in this. He plays suspicious early on. He's never a friend, which bugs me. He's never a good friend to Peter, which I find annoying. Or no, that's not true, because he hooks him up with Dr. Ock.
Oh, that's true.
Although...
That's Harry.
Yeah.
Although...
No, it's a nice thing.
Although I guess you really could make the argument that with Harry having Peter meet Otto, it helps in the end.
Yeah, true.
So Harry saves the day.
I take back my thing altogether. Yeah, I think it's really good Harry Osbourne. I rescind my comment. Yeah, Harry Osbourne, I think there's really good Harry Osbourne in this movie.
Probably it's the best Harry Osbourne we get.
Yes, I agree.
To date, probably. I would probably even take this over Dane DeHaan's.
Yeah, oh yeah. I did not like Dane DeHaan's. Let's rate and rank.
Do you want to do Aunt May?
Oh yeah, we can do Rosemary Harris. Rosemary Harris plays Aunt May in this movie. Better or worse?
It's better. I only say because of that one moving scene.
Yeah, the speech where she's moving and she gives. That's the best Aunt May I think we get in any of the
And also when he's explaining how he's responsible for Uncle Ben's death. Yes,
we finally get emotional connection between Aunt May and Peter.
Regarding Ben's death.
I still don't think Tobey and Rosemary necessarily have the best chemistry in that sense.
Andrew Garfield and Sally Field definitely had better chemistry.
Yes, 100%. But overall, she does do better. She has more to do.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Let's rate and rank this movie.
All right.
Out of 5, what are we giving?
It's up there, man. 4 or 5.
I'm going to give it 4.5.
Yeah.
4.5 out of 5. Do you agree?
I said 4 or 5. Oh, I meant 4.5. So, yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah. I mean, this is because that would be a 9 out of 10.
Yes.
This is an A movie.
Yes, I agree. Not an A+.
It's not an A+. There's some things that should be better. Spider-Man should be funnier. Mary Jane should be written better. But other than that,
we should have a female character that isn't captured. And I just don't like the city's going to stand up for Spider-Man. I don't like those scenes at all. But the stuff that's good is so good.
It's so good.
Let's rank. Better or worse than Spider-Man?
It's better.
It's better. There we go.
I would generally like to hear the argument of why this isn't a good movie.
If anyone has those, they can go ahead and get a hold of the podcast. They can email us, upandawaypodcast@gmail.com.
And also, if you think that Spider-Man 3 is better than Spider-Man 2, go fuck yourself. No, I'm just kidding. I would like to hear that argument, too.
You can also get a hold of the podcast, facebook.com/UpAndAwayShow. Twitter and Instagram, Up and Away Podcast. Actually, Twitter is Up and Away Show. Please remember to rate and subscribe to the podcast. That helps us out a lot. Our numbers have been doing very well, but the more we do, the more we can grow. It's been a really fun time so far.
We got ideas, but we need to grow.
Yeah. For everybody out there, next Friday, we are coming and we are going to review one of the worst superhero movies of all time, Spider-Man 3. It's the closest I've ever come to walking out of a movie.
Has there ever been a bigger drop-off?
I don't think.
Movie?
Maybe I would have to see Superman 2 to Superman 3, but I really don't think so. There's no way.
There's no way.
Yeah, there's really not. Even in the Batmans, although we've already talked about this.
Yeah, we've talked about those in depth. Like, if people are like, Matt, have you ever
X2
seen...
to X3?
Matt, have you ever seen Batman Returns? Like, I'll just email this to you.
Hey, what's your opinion on this?
Yeah, X2 to X3, I wasn't that big a fan of X2, to be honest, or even the original X-Men trilogy, so I would still say this.
I will say, though, next Friday we have to name what our upcoming superhero franchise will be after, and I don't get to name that. You get to name that.
I do. Maybe we'll do a movie that we mentioned today.
Possibly. Well, we mentioned a shitload of them.
I was about to say, actually, we mentioned a lot more than I realized.
So, if you don't have anything else, I don't have anything else.
Nope.
We'll see all you guys soon. Here are Up, Up, and Away.